So, you're thinking about a career in Alabama real estate. That's awesome. It's a fantastic choice, but you gotta know, there's a very specific path you have to follow. In this explainer, we're gonna break down that whole journey into a super clear step-by-step roadmap to getting your license. Let's dive in.
Look, it's a really rewarding career, for sure. But before you get to the fun stuff, showing properties and closing deals, there are some key hurdles you have to clear first. And we're about to lay out every single step for you, from that very first eligibility check all the way to keeping your license active for years to come.
Here's the game plan for today. We'll start with the basics, are you even eligible? Then we'll get into the big one, that mandatory pre-license course. After that, we'll talk about the state exam and getting your temporary license, then the really crucial steps to make it permanent, and finally, what you'll need to do to keep it active throughout your career.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning. Before you can even think about enrolling in a course, the Alabama Real Estate Commission has a basic checklist you need to pass. Let's see if you've got what it takes. All right, here's the first gate you have to pass through. First off, you've got to be at least 19 years old. You need to be a U.S. citizen or a legal resident, and you need to have a high school diploma or a GED. Now, the next couple are just as important. You can't have a felony conviction involving moral turpitude, and you can't have had a real estate license rejected or revoked anywhere in the last 2 years. If you can check all those boxes, you're ready for step 2.
All right, so you're eligible. Now it's time to build that knowledge base. This isn't just a class. It's the mandatory educational foundation for your entire career in real estate. This right here is the number that defines your first major commitment, 60 hours. Every single person who wants to be an agent in Alabama has to complete the 60-hour pre-licensing course. There's no way around it. It's a non-negotiable first step in your education.
Now, you might be thinking, great, 60 hours. I'll just cram it all into one long weekend and get it over with. Well, not so fast. Alabama has a specific rule that's designed to prevent exactly that, and it's to make sure you actually have time to absorb all this material.
So here's how it works. You can only get credit for a maximum of 6 hours of coursework per day. If you do the math, that means the absolute fastest you can finish this course is 11 days. And the system will literally lock you out of taking that final exam until at least day 11 is passed. So the big takeaway here? You need to budget at least 2 weeks for this course, minimum.
Okay, so after you've put in the time, you've got to face the course's final exam. And the magic number you're aiming for is 70%. If you can hit that score, you pass, and you'll get that all-important certificate of completion you need for the next major step.
You did it! You passed your course, you've got the certificate in hand, now you are ready to climb the first major peak on this journey, passing the official state exam and getting your temporary license.
Once you're done with your course, there are 3 key things you have to do. First, you've got to schedule and pass the official Alabama salesperson state exam. At the same time, you'll submit your information for a criminal background check. And once those 2 things are done, you can finally, formally apply to the commission for your temporary license.
Hey, does this number look a little familiar? It should. Just like with your course final, the score you need to pass the official state licensing exam is, you guessed it, 70%. Hit that mark and you're in the home stretch for getting that temp license.
Okay, you have your temporary license. Seriously, congratulations. That's a huge deal. But listen, don't celebrate for too long, because the second you get it, a new clock starts ticking on a final, really critical requirement to turn that temporary status into a permanent one.
This next step is a 30-hour post-licensing course. And I want to be super clear here, this is not the same as continuing education. This is a one-time mandatory course for all new agents, and it's designed to build on what you've already learned after you get your temporary license.
Now, the deadlines here can be a little confusing, so let's walk through an example. Let's say your temporary license is issued on June 10th. Your clock doesn't actually start until the 1st of the next month, so July 1st. If your license is active, you have 6 months from that start date to finish the 30-hour course. But here is the most critical part. Everyone, whether your license is active or inactive, has a hard deadline of 12 months from that July 1st start date to submit their permanent license application.
And whatever you do not miss that 12-month deadline. I'm not kidding. The Commission's rules are crystal clear about what happens. Your license will lapse, and you will have to start the entire process all over again. Yep, right from the very beginning with that 60-hour pre-license course.
You made it! You navigated all the deadlines. You've got your permanent license. Now, you're on the open road of your real estate career. But to stay on that road, you have to keep your knowledge up to date through what's called continuing education. So what does that look like? Well, it all comes down to this number, 15. Every 2 years, you'll need to complete 15 hours of continuing education, or CE, to keep your license active and in good standing.
Now, those 15 hours break down a little differently depending on your license. If you're a salesperson, you'll take 3 mandatory hours of risk management and then 12 hours of electives on topics you choose. For brokers, that mandatory requirement is a bit higher. It's 6 hours, which leaves 9 hours for electives.
So when do you actually need to have all this done? You might want to mark these dates on your calendar. Your license always expires on August 31st of every even-numbered year, but they give you a little grace period for your coursework. That's due by September 30th of those same even years.
And there you have it, the complete roadmap, from just being curious about real estate all the way to becoming a licensed Alabama professional. Every step is laid out, every deadline is clear. The only question left is, where will you go next?